Alrighty. I think I'm doing okay here. Now, if I can just get my iPad working, so I have the chat. Pam is here. I have to remember how I do this. Somebody told me to write it down last time, but I don't remember enough in order to write it down. Where is it at? I usually stumble on it. I just keep kicking around until it says live, and then I hit it. So I don't know how you guys all find it. It gets so frustrating. No, that's not it. This gets very frustrating. Okay, and now my Norton wants everything's all hitting at once, and I was so proud of myself because I got started fine. I don't have a chat until I get my iPad up, and I can never get it going. Where is it? Like I said, I stumble on it. I realize I should have this all figured out, but I don't because I've never had to do this before, other than this last few weeks. Short of going, this is so frustrating. I apologize. How do I find this? There it is. How did I get there? Okay. Alright, but that's how I do it every time. I just keep hitting buttons until I find it. Oh, it gets so frustrating. Alright, and now, where is this? Okay, I'm going to try to find around. There he is, but he's downstairs. Okay. I got everything working, and is my sound okay? If Pam or Joy could tell me if my sound is okay. I hate this delay. You know, I remember I used to have delays back in the day. Now we have all these delays. What is BAF? Pam tells me sound is BAF. I don't know what that is. Bad? But I'm doing it exactly the way I've always done it. Oh, I put my iPad over the mic. Is that better? Yeah, no, I put the iPad on top of the mic because I can't get I have a separate mic and we can't get it to work. So I think probably the biggest problem is my PC laptop. It's getting old and I need to replace it, but I don't have the funds available to do that. So anyway, it is what it is. Hopefully everybody's having a decent day. I doubt that people these days are having great days. I apologize. I'm a little bit miffed this afternoon. I live in Washington State, and just because our governor won't kiss up to certain people back in Washington, I guess we're expendable. So I'm in a little bit of a mood about that, but I'll get over it and let it go. I don't like to talk politics, so that's my statement. I'm done saying anything more. So anyway, I decided, when I was kind of trying to figure out the schedule, I know last Tuesday I said, let's do it Tuesdays and Thursdays. But I really want an extra day so that I don't want to do more than 2. I would love to be able to do like a show every day and just craft, but that's just not possible. So I try to want to spread it out just a little bit. So I thought, let's go back to our Friday evenings, which we probably did for 7 or 8 years we did Friday nights. My kids grew up with me doing live classes on Friday nights, but then once hockey got started with my son and such, Friday nights became difficult, and we kind of got away from doing Friday nights. Well, hockey he's not playing hockey, competitive hockey any longer, and when the hockey season ended very abruptly for the other hockey that we go to, so Friday seemed like a good time for right now. That way, those of you who are still working, you're done for the week for the most part, and those of you in other parts of the world, the timing of doing an evening one seems to work a lot better for our international people. So we'll have the afternoon class, or my time afternoon, on Tuesdays, and then this evening, my time class on Fridays. So I may do some other things as I get more caught up or figured out exactly what I'm working on. I may add like some Facebook Live demos or something like that. I don't know. I'm just trying to get a footing like the rest of us, and try to keep moving in a forward direction and getting some stuff done and things like that. So I don't want to overcommit, because I'm also still just kind of pulling out of a period of design acting all wackadoodle in terms of what direction I want to go and things like that. So it's fun just getting to, the biggest thing I wanted to do with all of this was just getting us all together, giving us an opportunity to get together virtually, since we can't get together in other ways. Excuse me. Anyway, so sorry, my allergies are kicking up, and I'm so used to now having to muffle any coughs and sneezes so I don't get death looks. So anyway, so I'm in the chat. I'm not the world's greatest at production. Let's put it that way. It's like what you see is what you get. But what we are working on, we are doing a modification of the summer fairy house to where we chopped it in half. So we just have the front part of the original house. It's got the chimney that goes on the one side. And during the last class, we did some work on the corners so that they were not as sharp edged. And then we did, using some egg carton, we did some stonework then on our chimney. I think we can continue working on the house. I think I'd rather get the house further along. I talked about working on the base, but I think we're going to work on the house some, and I have the base to where we can get started on it, but I think I'd rather work on it, because we can pretty much have the house pretty much all embellished, or at least covered and stuff, before we do the base, which is a box that will hold an album. And I gotta see. Excuse me. Looking at the I have not attached the chimney yet. It's still not attached. So that's something we will be doing in class today. So I haven't attached it yet. So you'll find that out today. So patience. So anyway, also to let you know, let's go ahead and switch cameras, and so that I can show you some other stuff too. Put the computer back out of the way. Get this to where I got to put something under it, because I'm getting a glare on my screen. I have a non-glare thing on there, but it's still, I've got so many lights on that there I can't see. Yeah, patience. I almost said patience grasshopper, but I don't know how many of you are old enough to know what patience grasshopper is about from Kung Fu. Anyway, I did want to mention, because I've had a couple of people asking me, and the paper that I am using both on the exterior and for the album is the Pink Pearl Pixies paper pack. Say that fast 3 times. So Pink Pearl Pixies. Oh, so there it goes. Pink Pearl Pixies paper pack. And this one's on. It's on my sale. I have my digital papers at 20% off. All of my written and video tutorials at 35%, and I'm keeping that up just because I know it helps people right now. So, but we're using the Pink Pearl Pixies paper pack, and then a lot of the wood and stuff papers. The one that I used on that I showed that I made these the little wood things for my the roof, and then there's a couple other wood papers that we'll also use. That those are part of the Pink Pearl Fairy Sailing Ship Supplemental. So if you want to use the same wood papers on your house that I'm using, those are in the Pink Pearl Fairy Sailing Ship Supplemental. So the Pink Pearl Pixies is under the paper packs on the website. The Sailing Ship Supplemental papers is under the digital kits. And those are just the papers that were used for the ferry sailing ship on that was used on the actual boat itself, and that's what I am using to give this kind of shabby look. You'll get some windows too, but we won't be using those. So the supplemental has the papers that we're using for the exterior, and the other papers we will be using. Now, it does have a wood paper in here that you could use as well if you didn't want to get the supplemental. And there's other ones in here that would work for other parts of the house as well, if you wanted to. So, excuse me, but these are ones that we will be using on the album. So these papers are in the paper packs, and this one is on sale, and the papers I'm using right now are in the supplemental for the sailing ship, and those are under digital kits, so if you're looking for those. Alright, so hopefully that helps you all out. So what I think we're going to start with is covering or doing something to the tower that's in the front. I thought about, while I was looking at it this afternoon, I thought about doing some more stones that are on the chimney. I thought about doing that and making that the stones as well, but I don't know that I want to get the goopy goo stuff out. So we may just go ahead and cover it in one of the woods and do a different of the woods for the house itself. And then I've already got these all ready to go. And I showed the Tim Holtz dye. I put it away, otherwise I'd grab it right now. This was done with the dye and texture. The dye and texture folder to make these, what I'm going to use like shingles on the roof. So, well, this is coming out really herky-jerky on YouTube, my movement, and I think it's because YouTube has cranked the quality back on the videos, because it's not nearly as clean as my broadcasting screen when I look at my viewer. So hopefully it's still acceptable for all you guys. So I know. I like the idea of the stone, but do we want to do the gooey stuff again? Should we get that out? I don't know. I would. Yeah. Plus, there are millions on YouTube as well. But I also know that they, in order to kind of make it to where more people could be able to be on YouTube, they did the bit rate or something. They cranked it back. So I don't know how many people think we should go ahead and do the stone, because I think doing, and it would be just up to here, because we do the leaves on the roof, and then there's a little awning that goes over the door. Yeah, I like the stone on the chimney. That's what I'm thinking. It might be look kind of cool on the tower as well. Because we don't have to, like, we have a door that goes right here, and there's a little awning, so it would only be mainly on the sides and up and around the windows. Oh, I'm talking myself into it because I really do. It's what I really like how that looks. Should we do the stone? Should we just bite the bullet and do the stone? I think we should. We won't get quite as far because it would be faster to do. But I don't know. Because otherwise I'm just doing more wood. I almost think it's almost too much wood if I do wood. I mean, I have no problems doing wood on the front, but I think I want this stone. Let's do that. All right, let's do the stone. So give me 2 seconds. I gotta go grab the goop. The goop. All right. Yeah. Well, the other thing that I need to do though before we do that is I have to get the door templates out. Where did I put those? All right, I have them. Is this a problem when you work on one project and then you switch to a different project? So I gotta pull it up on my computer so I know what I've got. I printed it and I thought it was still here, sitting here, but I'm not finding it. So that so I apologize on that. This is old, so I have to scroll back a ways, so bear with me here for a moment. Where is it? Oh, I have too many things in here. And this is where search comes in. There it is. Okay. Yeah, I sure could do a pine cone roof. Yeah. I don't have any pine cones, otherwise I do pine cone roof. We get cedar trees and they're not the same. Alright, here is my pattern. Let's see, what are we using for the door template? Okay, so I just cut them and then I'll shape them. Okay. Tower, roof, chimney, shower, door. And the all right. Let me grab some chipboard scraps so I can get this cut. Alright, so set this out of the way. And cut our I love it when my tongue goes faster than the brain is staying up with it. So we're cutting a rectangle that's going to be the awning roof. So we'll cut the rectangle and then we're going to cut it on the diagonal. And then we're going to attach, flip one of them over and we'll attach that seam together. Okay, so this is the same height. Alright, so there's my door, and then I'm going to take, because I always use this curve a lot, it's my tape. Mark the center. Where's my pencil? See, and then I've just laid it on there, so that's going to give me the curve. So I'm just coming off the point, and then just to where this goes right off the edge, and that gives me kind of a nice shape to my door. There we go. Get the light right. There we go. And it's not so much that we're going to attach the door right now, but we need to mark it on the front of the tower so that we don't put goo there. So And I think I might come up 1/4 of an inch just so I can have a little bit of a step there. So there I've marked, and I'll just bring that straight down because then I'll put a little step there. So this part will get covered. So then I need a construction strips bit to attach these guys together. And so then this is going to attach, and it's going to attach kind of like where it's just below the upper window here. So I'm just going to mark it. Oops. So that's where that will go, so that then I know to where I don't want to put the stone. So I'm going to keep the stone mainly outside of that part. So we can set those aside. Grab this, and then I got all my, I have some other flat bits. So that should give us plenty. I've always come in this, and when I was in Alaska, that's what our eggs came in. So it's, I mean, there's a couple of stores that have the foam ones, but the foam ones, see, Washington's really big on recycles and stuff like that. So we tend to have a lot more things like this that are, it's recyclable, you know, compostable type of materials, just because that's just, the state of Washington just does that. Yeah, and Joy's got clear plastic, which I find I've never seen that. So that's really bizarre to me. So I know Starbucks cup holders come in this kind of material. At least here they do. I don't know whether you get that. I was gluing these. I'm supposed to glue these on, aren't I? I was going to use this stuff to goop it on. I'm brain dead, obviously. We goop that stuff on afterwards, but that's fine. Again, just like we did before, I'm folding to go around the corners on some of them. Okay, I'm going to like this with the stone. I'm glad we're doing the stone. Thanks for giving me that. I know it's going to take a little longer. We're not going to be, this is kind of the same stuff as we were doing before. I should have decided on this before so that I had it done already, but I didn't. Delaminating there. So. Obviously, if you want to cover it with paper rather than doing this, by all means, just like or painting it like we did on the original. It's perfectly okay to do that. You can watch paint dry and you'll be okay. Well, that's the next step. We'll see if the numbers go down. Well, that's why I say, Joy, people can do whichever their preferred method is. On the original, that we painted the tower and then papered the house itself on the original. So you can do that as well. So it's really your choice. It's your project, so it's your choice. Yeah, and as Christine says, we can chat more. I think I'm going to like it. Yeah. Direct the light a little bit better so it's not so much in the shadow. Lois is probably not here because this is a little bit late for her. Also, well, speaking of Lois is also still recovering from some bronchitis, and given the current conditions, she needs to just kind of keep an eye on herself here. So, now one thing we did find out this week is Bobby Bissett, who's one of our favorite paper doodles. She's the voice of one of the the excuse me, the mascot squirrels on paper doodles. She got really ill before Christmas and had a ruptured appendix and stuff. And then all of a sudden we weren't hearing from her, and Monica Baker got in contact with me, and we made contact with her because neither of us had heard from her, and found out that she has been extremely ill, was in the hospital in ICU for a couple of weeks, and also is now in a nursing facility recovering. It was pretty significant recovery that she's having to do, and given the situation as it is right now, her husband is not able to visit her, things like that. So it's kind of a rough situation for her. So if anybody is at all interested in making cards, because she can receive cards at the nursing facility, and my guess is she will still be there for a bit longer. I do have an address for the nursing facility that I will be more than happy to give to you if contact me directly, either through Facebook Messenger or through email, and I'd be happy to give you that address in order to send her a card or best wishes. She does now have her iPad per her husband, so I'm hoping that she is able to see paper doodles and the thread we have going there, wishing her a speedy recovery. So yeah, and yeah, the dogs are keeping her husband, kind of keeping him from going a bit nutso himself, so taking care of their dogs, because her puppies are her children. So that's keeping him busy, since like I said, he's not able to visit her because of this virus stuff. Yeah, I couldn't remember which one. She's Apple Fury. One of our, for those of you who are new, that for some reason I'm not really sure how it ended up, but the our mascot is over on Paper Doodles is squirrels. So, like I said, don't really remember where that came from, but it's been that way for a few years. And there was a running story between Apple Furry, and then the other one is Lulu. They're kind of rival squirrels, so to speak, and they have and there's this ongoing narrative between, is it Becky who does Lulu? So I think it's Becky Mars who does Lulu. So between those two, this running story has gone on for years. It'll take a break for a few months, and then it starts up again, and it's been pretty quiet for a while, but now we understand. So we're looking forward to the tales of Apple and Lulu coming back. So, but we definitely want to wish a speedy recovery, or at this point, a recovery to Bobby. Yeah, I thought Becky Mars was Lulu. Like I said, it's been a few months since we had that saga happening. So, and my recollection, while I'm also trying to talk and glue stones at the same time, is not always my sterling moment for my brain to be working at optimum. Yeah, it used to be originally, the original squirrel saga was about two dad squirrels, and these are the daughters now, because that's what squirrels do. Speaking of squirrels, Pam, since you're here, was there a squirrel apocalypse again this past fall? Trevor was in New Hampshire playing hockey. He was only about an hour and a half, I think, north of where Pam is in the Boston area. And he was going down to a game, driving down to a game that was down in Boston area. And he's talking to me on the phone, and he's just like, can't figure it out because there are dead squirrels. I mean, by the hundreds of dead squirrels on the road. And I guess this is something when they're overpopulated, they do this. But Trevor would call it squirrel apocalypse. And so I just didn't know if it happened again this year. That was just wild. He's like, and there would be like tons of them. So they were running out into the freeway and getting run over. It was wild. Well, I know you've had lots of squirrels, but were they like plastered all over the freeway again? You can also leave some gaps and stuff. I don't like where that one fits in there. We'll move it up here. There can be, variation in gaps between the little stones. Yeah, that one's better right there. Probably shouldn't leave this just sitting in there. I'm going to dry out. Close that up for the moment. Yeah, Joy lives in Hawaii, for those of you who are relatively new, and she saw her first first squirrel when we were in Boston, when I was doing a live, we did a live classes in Salem, Massachusetts. So she saw her first squirrels when we were in Salem. Something new and different for her. Put this one up here. I want one that kind of folds over the edge down there. Oh, they can cause all sorts of of damage. Yes, they can create a lot of havoc. They're cute and all, but they still do cause some issues. In fact, speaking of Bobby, Bobby was definitely having some issues with squirrels in her house. She lives in Texas, and they were getting into her roof. They were crawling in through a hole, and they were having to trap them. So this is moving along pretty quickly. I'm liking how that's looking with the stones on there. I think that's gonna, and then with the stones down here, I think it all ties together well. Okay, let's tear up some more. Well, see, Joy would think that thinks they're cute because she, like I said, she lives in Hawaii where they've got spiders that are bigger than most squirrels. So, and those aren't cute. Yep. See, we lost about 10 people, about a dozen people when I started doing this. They were like, "Yep, nope, snooze, bye." I don't have to be super careful with this top edge because I'm going to have the leaves are coming down to cover over it. So. So Leslie, are you guys under stay-at-home orders now? Because I saw that Paper and Ink Boutique now has their closed for anybody coming into the store per Alberta government. So you must be under that. Okay, so keep on gluing. We're almost got it. Glue that one on, then I'll trim it off. Oops. Plunk. Kerplunk. Yeah, I thought that might have happened today because she said it just happened today. It looked like, and I assumed that's what was that had gone down. So, scary stuff all over the place. Okay, some more. I will say this, if you do have local scrapbook stores and they do have an online component or something, please support them if you can. It's to keep them to where they can survive through this. I mean, a lot of them are getting creative. For instance, they're in Calgary. I know Paper Ink Boutique is doing deliveries. You can call an order and they'll deliver it to you. They kind of broke the city into quadrants and they deliver to different sections each day. So. But yes, I do encourage those who are able to please keep supporting our local scrapbook store so that they can get through. I do have some orders and stuff going out, and I do want to assure people that the vast majority of what is shipping out is stuff that was packed prior to this. I am giving the package, though I'm wiping down the plastic bags that, everything gets packed in for my kids, with uh, the Clorox wipes. And then I'm also giving the outside of the box before it leaves a spray of, hitting it with the Lysol. So, and then once it gets to your end, I guess they are now recommending with packages is that you go ahead and leave them sitting in the sun or spray them, that sort of thing. I have not had any known contact with anybody, nor have I anybody that I know with any symptoms, and I am not near the hot zone kind of thing for this area is further north than where I am. So yeah, see, there's a reason why we've all had been building these stashes up, for all these years. So we're all prepared. Yeah, Monica, you take social distancing at work a little extreme. How many feet up in the air are you in your crane? For Monica, 6 feet is not enough. She's like way up in the air, and she'll probably tell me in meters. So, 150. Oh, she said 100 feet. Good girl. She knows enough Americans to know that we're not very good at converting. Almost done with this. And I think I'm just going to leave this back of this part. I'm not going to cram the stuff down in there. It's not going to really show. So I'm not going to cover that part. Alright, so that gives me maybe a little bits of piece right in there. Now that I have all my gluey gooey fingers, some scrappies here that can go there. Okay, when I put this on, how much under there shows? It does, so let's go ahead and do up underneath there. Now when it's going up against a straight edge, I have no problems cutting it with my scissors rather than tearing it, because it's going to go up against that rafe edge. Just like doing real stonework, it's kind of like a puzzle, getting all the pieces to fit the way you want them to. That works. Kept that clear. And then the door is going to go right in there like so. So, all right, we're good to go for that. All right, let me get this totally mess. And then I got to clean these fingers off. I wait until, I used to just grab a baby wipe all the time. Now I just like, okay, am I ready? I also tend to, when I'm working now, rather than using a baby wipe, I do tend to go and wash my hands. Because I have my limited supply here. And I don't want to buy any at the store to take away from somebody who needs them for a baby. So, until they're in greater supply. We have most products in our grocery stores, or at least in my grocery store here, are pretty much back to, I'm going to get goopy here again anyway, so, are pretty much back to the kind of recovered. But we were like a week ahead of everybody in terms of the panic buying, so since things kind of got started here in the States here. So, alrighty. So I'm happy with that. So let's take that. Now we can get the goopy goo out. So I'm just taking my matte medium. If you only have gloss medium, that's fine. If you don't have a medium at all, you can take and mix glue and water as well. I do it about 2/3 glue to 1/3 water. This smooths down all the jaggedy, torn edges. It makes it a lot more like stone. It also is going to seal it. Sorry, I've not been looking at the chat. This is gel medium is what I'm using. And I did talk about it at the last class, so. What am I? I'm using matte gel medium. There's different brands of it. I'm using the the Crafters Workshop there. TCW matte medium. Ranger has some. You can get it at art supply places, craft stores. TCW has a online store. You can go to thecraftersworkshop.com, and then they do have an online store where you can order stuff from them. They are still running their online store, and they are shipping. So they are still, and they're out of upstate New York. All right, I like how that looks. I like the stone look. I've explained, usually, for those of you who don't know the difference between the mediums, I have kind of gone through them. Gel medium usually comes in just regular, which is glossy, or the matte, which has a matte finish to it. Then there's modeling paste. Modeling paste comes in clear, but it's typically much more opaque, and it's can many times be thicker as well. There's different weights of gel medium. There's also gel mediums that have things like sand, that sort of thing added to them to give them texture, that sort of thing. So yeah, I'm happy with that. And then it'll have this down here at on the other side. So I'm liking the stone in the stone, and then this will be with paper, and then we'll have the roof as well. So let this dry as best we can. I'm trying to think of how, let's see, what should we do? What I really want to do is paint. So let me try drying it a little bit. I want to do the paint the chimney, and then have to stop and not paint this. So I tend to prefer to let this stuff dry on its own, but we're going to give it some little assistance. Yeah, Liquitex has it. Golden has it. There's pretty much, what it's used for, what gel medium it was originally designed for, is to add to acrylic paints to give it some more body. So that's what, and extended life and more body. And that was what it's actually intended for, is for, acrylic painting. But, like anything, you give, especially mixed media, paper artists and stuff, they'll go crazy and use stuff for all sorts of things. So like with modeling paste, I tend to use that if I'm trying to create a texture. So if I wanted this to have more of a stucco kind of texture rather than the stone, I could take a modeling paste and probably put it on with like a palette knife, and that would give it a very textural look. Okay, this isn't too bad to dry, so. Yeah, basically it's non-pigmented acrylic. In essence, you've got it exactly right, Alexa. Almost there. For all my Canadian friends, all the TCW mediums and stuff are actually made in Canada. Well, with a name like Alexa, don't you get your Alexa going off all the time? I got too creeped out. My husband bought me one of those, and I'm like, nope, it's not enough my phone listens to me, because you mention something while your phone is anywhere near you, and next thing you know, you'll get ads for whatever you talked about. So, all right, so that can dry a little bit now while I'm painting this one. Now, I have some gray, just a dark gray paint, and I mainly just want to hit in between the stones just to give them some definition in between. So I'm kind of just dry brush, almost dab it on. So see how it's giving. I'm just kind of wanting to darken a little bit, so I'm not putting much on my brush. I'm just kind of dabbing it on just to give some definition between the stones. If you get too much, you just can wipe some of it off. It's always easier to add more, so start light hand. I mean, I'm barely putting any on my brush.
Yeah, there's any number of techniques. Yeah, I like the chalk pastels. That's a good idea too. You know, whatever you have on hand um, these days. So that's just kind of giving them kind of a dry brush over to bring out the texture. And of course, bring my baby wipe, which I didn't throw away. So if you get too much, you can dampen. Paper towel, cloth, whatever you do have. That's giving you a neat kind of stone. Then we can also add everyone's favorite of some moss. But I'm going to add any moss towards the end of the whole house, because I'll be adding some to the outside part as well. So I'm not going to put it on just yet onto the chimney. Now, because this got sealed with the matte medium too, is I could go over it with the damp baby wipe, and it's not, you know, it'll come off because it's sealed with the medium. So it's looking like real stone. Welcome, DT. So glad you could join us. It's a pretty friendly group here, so. And this last little section up here. Oh, looking cool. I'm pleased with it. I was gonna like take some of the stone down inside, but I think I'm gonna do some stuff coming out of so I'm just gonna paint it gray for the first like inch or so down. Then I thought about putting a little top thing on it, so I'll figure it out as we get to that point. But right now I'm just gonna paint down inside. So it doesn't look quite so obvious. So just painting it gray, it looks fine. Alright, so there it gives us the stones look a lot more defined because the gray looks way darker on camera than it is in the actuality. So, alright, I think this is dry enough that I can give it some paint on here as well. What part's the least dry, so we'll do it last. This is dry over here. I definitely want to paint that groove where the roof line is going to go. I'll just keep working my way, painting and defining the stones. You can also, as I said last time, if you're wanting to do, not do quite so much mixed media and you want to see, the paper covering version too, you can use the videos from the original version back in whatever year that was, the dark ages of time. When we did this originally, what was that in 2000? Was it 12, 13, 14, something like that? I think it's 2013 is the date on them. God, Amari's actually 6 months old. Pam, are you kidding me? She really? Ah, she is, isn't she? Wow, I'm just not. Time's going by way too fast. Alright, so now we'll do this side. Way too much paint. Run that down that edge. I got a little bit heavier handed with the paint as I went on, because then I'm finding I'm liking how it looks, just going ahead and painting it on and then wiping off a lot of it. Oh, I'm glad we did this. I like how this looks on the front. So that gives us, that's the look we've got for it. And as I said, it's looking way darker, the gray. It's really not quite as much of a contrast as it shows on camera. It's really much more of a subtle difference. So in reality, it looks way cooler than it is on camera even. It's much more subtly colored. I don't know why it's coming out as kind of intense as it is. So that's going to glue right down in there like so. The door is going to go tucked right up in there like so. Pull out that little, so that's going to, it's going to look so cute. All right, well, now that we got that painted, we can do our roof with our pieces. And this is going to get papered, so I'm going to go ahead and glue this on. That's all I'm going to do, is it's just going to get glued on. So I don't remember who was asking is how I attach the chimney. This is how. I'm just gluing it right on there. Probably best to stand it up so I know it's nice and flat. And make sure it's up tight against the here against the roof, So it doesn't have to line perfectly here in the back. It's a little bit forward of it. So but let me just hold it in place for a second while the glue catches. The chimney looks a little bit lighter gray. I think it's the distance backs because they're exact same color in person. And this is also still drying a little bit, whereas this was totally dry. So once they both dry, but it's just that little bit difference, depth. I look up at the camera and go, oh my goodness, that's not how it looks in person. It's not nearly as dark. So when I photograph it under different light conditions, and then it slipped. Are you kidding me? But when I photograph it, then you'll be able to see that it's not nearly as dark as it looks. Oh, come on. Really? I'm going to slather it up there because it does have, up here, it's because it is held out a little ways. But I don't know why it slipped where it wasn't flat. Whenever I'm waiting for something to dry like this, my brain does the whole um, see, and then my brain goes dead. But my brain does the song from Jeopardy, for Final Jeopardy song. Okay, so let's put these roof pieces on. Now these guys were all, as I had showed you in the last class, with Tim Holtz. It's little nice little wood panel thingies, and then I've cut some of them because I didn't want them too long. So some of these were, they were like really long, so I cut them. There were some long, skinny ones. This is about the longest one that I have, so it's like 2 3/4 inches. I also they went through the texture plate, so they've got the wood texture, even though the pattern, paper pattern, but it's really cool because when you catch it in the light just right, I don't know if I can get it to do it on camera, but see how you can see some of the depth in there? Like there's a divot right there. You catch that depth. It ends up making it look a lot more like real wood. So, and I'm giving them a little bit of a curl. And I'm going to have it overhang slightly. Don't give it a lot of curl this time. And I'm going to start at the bottom. This is not terribly dissimilar to what we did on the original, where I used pattern paper, and I kind of shaped it and really distressed the edges. So vary the size. Something like that better. Just kind of curling up the end a little, not the whole thing. So we're just adding those on. Vary the size, length. one's cool because that one can go from the edge of the window. It was a strip that was cut, kind of buried a little bit so that I can go right up next to the chimney. Let's see, which piece did we go? That'll work. No, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Is I'll do one of the wider ones. So I want it to hang over a little bit. This will go right up against the side wall. So I got the first row going across. This next one, I'll do something that's narrower right next to the overlap. So see, I'm overlapping them then. It's kind of like shingles. Darker one here. See how cute that's looking? Again, the contrast level on camera is significantly different than it is in reality. Yeah, and it was a lot of work distressing. These were easy. Oh, I'm sorry, mister. Mr. Salem came over to rub on my leg, and I didn't realize it was him, and I actually bonked into him. Sorry, dude. I think I'll take one of, I got these couple of little tiny guys here. I'll probably have to do some more, but one of these down here by the chimney area here. Yeah, that works. I'm really pleased with how this is looking. This is what I was going for with this. See how cute that's looking? Again, the contrast is like whack. It's not that strong. Well, I'll definitely have to be cutting some more, I think. Sorry if I'm not watching the chat. Hey, Mr. Salem, that's my chair. That's not a scratching post. Yeah, I know. Oh, I'm loving how that comes out. That comes out so cute. I'm just so thrown is when I look at it and then I look up at on the camera and it's so weirdly lit that it's not that way in reality. So it's kind of odd. Let's just tuck that. I'll have to probably end up doing some more pieces for back behind, but at least it'll give us an idea. Tucker's outside thinking he has to tell the entire world that he's here. As if all of the neighborhood doesn't already know that Tucker is here. But then I think Allie's barking too, so somebody must be like walking by the top of the hill. Perfect amount other than back behind the tower. So one more little set. Let's see that one over here. I'm going to shorten this one up, but trimming it so it's not the exact same length. Bend the end. Yeah, I just need that part that's right back behind. Other than that, it gave me enough for the roof for the whole thing. So that came out cute, way faster and easier than the paper ones, so I'm happy with that. And what I think we'll do is I'll get the, I'm going to paint here kind of a green, and I'll paint the inside and outside of this green because then we're going to punch some leaves to do the roof line on there, and then we're going to add some, I'll probably do some chipboard through that wood grain, and we're going to do a wood grain slats on the door. So I think we'll do that next class. Where are we at on time? Yeah, because that puts us at about the right time. So we got the roof on, we got the chimney. So what we'll do in the next class is we'll get the front papered, and we'll put the roof here, and do the door, and then we'll see where we're at in terms of doing the windows as well, because we'll be able to go ahead and get the windows in from here. So that'll be nice. Yeah, so we'll see if we can get to the windows. So we should have a good portion of the house then pretty much done by the next class. So then next, let's see, Friday, so Tuesday. So now Tuesday we'll finish up the house, and then Thursday we'll get working on the base slash box. Now, one of the things that I will be using is some fun foam. You can pretty much use any color because we'll paint it. I've got black, I've got white. So I'll be using some fun foam. Because what we're going to do is, I have this cut already here, is we're going to take, let me do this close so you can see it a little bit better. A little better contrast. So this is an 8.5 by 11. And we're going to set our house kind of up against that back, kind of place where we want it to be. And then we're just going to draw kind of lines. So this is going to be a little stream that's going by, so that this part will come out. Oops. My little roof keeps, it's not glued on, it's just kind of wedged in there between the stones. So stay. So this will be a little stream, and we're going to do a couple of layers, kind of like a topo map, to create this so it kind of dips down where the little stream is. Then we'll have, you know, a little path coming down along the stream. We'll do some stuff with some little stones and moss along the edges of the stream. We're going to also be creating some little mushrooms. I'm debating, I'm trying a couple things. Some of them might be little fabric mushrooms, or they might be paper mushrooms. I'm trying to come up with ways to do things with stuff that you probably have on hand, since getting supplies is not as readily available. So I know not a lot of you have a lot of fabric choices. So potentially doing it with paper bag type stuff is where I'm thinking. So we're going to have some mushrooms and some other like little plant things and stuff. So it's going to be a nice, and this base is the lid of a box. So the house and this part is the lid of the box, and then that lifts off, and inside the box will be a mini album. So that just kind of gives you an idea of what's going to be happening when we get to the base slash box for our little house, our spring summer fairy house. So we'll need some sort of clear material, whether it's acetate or acrylic, or you can use packaging from some maybe embellishments that you have, anything that is clear, so that you can use that. And then I'll use some stickles on it to give it kind of that sparkle, so that it also gives it some opaqueness for the windows. So, but anyway, it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's turning out to be cute, a little bit different in terms of its look, it's more neutral. So we might need to do something around maybe around this window or the shutters. Maybe we'll do something like make hot pink shutters on it, or a hot pink door. Maybe something like that, just to give it some pops of the color. And then maybe because it is kind of neutral, we'll do like red mushrooms or something, so we can just add some pops of color and that sort of thing. Oh, DT, just go ahead and just try it. I do my best to make my projects so that they're doable. If this seems a little too intimidating for you, you can also go back to the videos from a billion years ago, 2013. They are on my website under the archives, and you can watch the original one that we did years and years ago, and that might, where it's done mainly just with paper, so that you can give that a try. Yeah, Leslie, you can do a 12 by 12 if you want to do it. You will probably want to put some support under it, because that 12 by 12 is a lot of span versus 8.5 by 11. So if you want to have a larger yard, by all means, you can do a 12 by 12. But, and also, DT, if you have any issues, and this is true for any of you, if you have any questions, please, 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 please do not hesitate to give me a call. Everybody always goes, oh, she's so busy, I don't want to bother her. But that's what I'm here for. I am more than happy to help you out as best I can on anything. So if you don't ask questions, I can't help you. So please feel free to do that at any time. So let me real quick switch cameras. Pop that out of the way. This. I'm going to have to pull this forward. So there, now I look like I'm in an interrogation lighting. So this is wild. Okay, let me see if I can switch my lighting color. Oh, come on, don't do this. There, it's caught. Switch it to where it's a little bit more friendly color. I still look bad. There, that's a little bit softer, so I don't look quite so under interrogation. And it looks like I'm sitting in the dark because, well, I kind of am. All my lights focused on my desktop. So, anyway. Does anybody have any other questions? Yeah, Joyce says the next class is at 3:30 next Tuesday, so we'll do the afternoon. If I do any kind of demos or anything, I don't know. If I haven't decided whether I want to do like a Facebook Live demo or something. But if I do that, I would do that in the morning. It would probably be on my Laura Dennison Designs Facebook, my business page rather than my personal, so that more people can watch it. Otherwise I would do it on Paper Doodles. But if you're not a member of Paper Doodles, you can't watch it. So I'll probably do it on my business page if I do any demo type things or something like that. If I do things just as videos, I would try to post those, in the mornings since we're doing afternoon and evening classes. So. I'm trying to figure out, okay, was it the heavier chipboard? Is that a question, Leslie, about the heavier chipboard? Oh, cool, DT. Yeah, it's fun having those. And I'm still missing quite a few from, I think it was 2018. I still need to get those posted into the archives. Those were the ones that were all on the calendar, and I got a bit, I don't want to call it lazy, but it was a crazy time in those days. So I didn't get them posted into the archives, and then our calendar messed up, and we had to replace the calendar, and we lost all of the links on there. But I do have copies of the links. I just have to post it into the archives. So if there's some project that you may have a pattern for and you're like, why is that not in the archives? Well, that's why, because it's just my ring light is making circles. And okay, that's a little bit better. It's not quite so bright. So so I am missing those, and I'm hoping to get to those. It's like I work from home every single day, but it's so much harder. And Sue is here typically because she's doing, her school stuff from home and has been for years. But having both my husband and Trevor here all the time, it's amazing how little I can get done when I've got two more people in the house to interrupt. So, anyway, all right, guys, I'm going to let you guys all go because I know back over on the East Coast, it is getting quite late for you. But I do want to as always, thank you all for joining me. I know we are all going through a really rough period right now. But if this helps a little bit to help you stay positive, think, stay creative, think about other things, that's
that's my plan for doing all of this, is just to kind of give us a way to get together and talk and create. And I know for me, being creative is probably the best solace that I find when I'm going through periods of stress. So I just, I want to say thank you to all of you for joining me. And please, 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 please stay safe. Stay home. I think that's the best thing we can do at this point. We've been preparing for this with these massive crafting stashes that we all have. So we've been preparing for this for years. So hopefully many of you can take advantage of spending a little time for yourselves. As women, I know we tend to be the ones who get to take care of everybody. So I want everybody to also, here, say hi. He's like, nope. So not only take care of, our families, but take care of yourselves as well. I think we're not going to realize the mental toll this is taking on everybody till it's over with. But so I just say that, take care of yourselves as well. Yeah, we're all in this. This is, everybody, we're all dealing with this. So, all right. Say bye-bye, Salem. Say bye. He's like, nope, I don't want to be on camera, Mom. I'm kidding you. All right, guys. So have a good one, and we will see you next Tuesday. So peace out. Stay safe. Love you all bunches. Bye for now.